Reason for this training today is because a lot of mobile caterers don't actually know how much money they make. Now, if you're a pretty particular kind of person, that might sound bizarre to you. I know a lot of people that just know roughly how much money they're making from an event or a series of an events, or they'll get to the end of a month of events and they go, oh, where's all the money? I thought I made more money than that. So that's what we're going to address in this training. Obviously, you can log into Xero or your accounting software or whatever you use and check your profit and loss statement. And you can categorize everything, but it's very difficult to work out how much money you're making from an event or that week or a specific time frame, because when you're getting food orders and things like that scattered through that time frame, it's genuinely hard to work out. So if you're someone that doesn't see the value in it, I want to quickly highlight the 3 reasons why you should learn how to calculate your profit. You probably know in the very back of your mind that you should be doing it, but you just don't do it because it's a difficult, too hard basket thing. It's going to take you time. But the reason you should do it is to be able to forecast better, forecast events that are coming up or that you're thinking about doing. If it's something that takes a long time or a lot of effort for you to do, you're just not going to do it. And you're going to go into the event or location or whatever with a lot less insight than you should have, costing you money over the long term, obviously. It'll help you cut your costs and optimize. Once you can see your food costs and everything laid out so that it's in real time, you can change your supplier costs and portion size and everything's dialed in. And lastly is to stay competitive. If you don't have tools to calculate your profit and optimize and see where your food margins are coming in relative to your price point, if your competitors are putting their prices up and you're thinking about doing the same, you need to account for that in your food costs. And you need to be able to simulate an event or wherever you're trading and go, well, how does that affect my bottom line? And with the technology we've got in this day and age, you should be able to do that. Like, above all, being able to know what your profit is in real time, fast, easily, is just going to help you make better decisions, future decisions, now decisions, in the moment, like knock some staff off decisions. So we'll dive in now to this master sheet. Hope you enjoy. The goal of this sheet is to help you calculate your actual and estimated profit fast and easily. Use this sheet for one menu only. If you've got multiple trucks or menus, duplicate the sheet, use it for a separate menu. How to use this sheet? Look, it's very self-explanatory. It's the whole point of this, but a few things. Just make sure you enter into the white cells only. Any blank white cells are values that you need to fill in from your business. And ensure all the white cells are completed with your information. If you don't complete white cells, basically there's something missing and it's not gonna spit out the result that you need. Complete every sheet. You can see here we've got your menu, food cost calculations, your data from your food costs, and we'll go through in a minute why calculating your food costs before you do anything else is really important to be able to do this as a real-time, quick-moving thing. And then I'll show you how that carries over to our event profit and loss and our fixed location profit and loss statement. All right. Step 4, 5, 6 is basically filling out all these. So hope that all makes sense. We'll dive into the menu right now. So this is my burger business, right? So I've got a name of the item. In this case, some burgers, some loaded fries, some chips, description. Now it's really important that every cell is important. So you just put your item in, description in, and then the price point in here. Now the reason that it's important is because it's linked to other stuff in the spreadsheet. So fill these out with your menu. I just got these below to show a couple more examples of my 2 businesses. So your food cost calculations, it all comes down to working out your every ingredient. And if you're a chef, you know this stuff. However, you might not have a sheet that is going to do everything so seamlessly for you and calculate your event profit and loss and everything all in sync. So we'll go through a couple of items in my business and then I'll backspace a few things and I'll show you how it actually works. So firstly, we've got description here. Now, description is description of your ingredient and description of that portion. So for example, a burger bun, it sounds really stupid simple, but it's important. Burger bun, what are we actually giving? Well, 1 bun. And cheese slice, what are we giving? Are we giving 2 slices, 1 slice? Pickles, or tomato is probably a more important one. What are we giving from the tomato? 3 slices. So That's really important right there. So that's description of your ingredient and the portion. The bulk package that comes in. So what does your burger bun come in? Does it come in a box? What does your tomato come in? It comes in a box. Basically, when you order it from a supplier, what do you order? Do you say, I want 10 jars of pickles, or do you want 1 drum of oil? Do you want a tub of mustard? I think you get the idea. So that's your bulk package. Now, this is the hardest part in the whole spreadsheet. Basically, when I buy a box of burger buns, it comes in a box of 48 buns. So what's the quantity of this in your, how many of these are in your box? Hope that makes sense. I'm going to say it again. How many of these are in your bulk package? So this is super easy for a burger bun. There's 48 buns, 48 of one bun in a box. So we just put 48 here. And the unit, it's like just confirming what the unit is, because it varies a little bit down here if we're describing the portion as a squirt and whatnot. It's important that it's a clear unit of measurement. So for 48 buns, when we want to type that in, and we put the cost of the bulk packaging. Where this gets tricky, and this is what I mean by the hardest part, is if you've got tomatoes, you've got a box of them, how many slices in that box? So I've done the maths here. I think I can't remember off the top of my head, I think there was 70 tomatoes on average in a box. And for this kind of stuff, I just Google it. I'm not going to go through and count the tomatoes in my box. So if I'm just sitting at a desk, the last thing you want to do is go, to-do list, count how many tomatoes, or call your veg supplier. So I just go, how many tomatoes in a box? How many slices in a tomato? And you might know this off the top of your head, but again, just Google it. How many slices on average out of a tomato? Because that's what we want here. We want an average. How many slices in a tomato? So if you've got 80 tomatoes, and I think it was 70 tomatoes in a box, in a 10 kilo box on average, and there's 8 slices in each, 8 times 70 is 560 slices. So it's 560 slices of tomato in a box. And you want to do the same thing with everything. So for example, with lettuce, you want to say, how many leaves of lettuce are in a box, as opposed to how many lettuces in a box. So I think I went, there's 12 lettuce heads in a box, and there's 30 leaves on each on average. So okay, there's 360 leaves in my box of lettuce. Hope that makes sense. That's the hardest part of this whole thing, is just working out this quantity. And the same thing with these guys. If you've got your mustard, if you want to measure it in tablespoons, you've just got to convert it to the unit like an actual measuring unit that we can use to create a portion. So if you say use a tablespoon, Google, how much does 1 tablespoon of mustard weigh? 15 grams, or weigh it if you don't trust Google. But that's what I find to be the most effective when you're trying to do this kind of quickly. And the same thing for a squirt of ketchup or oil. You can say a tablespoon of it. That's roughly a squirt. And I'll do one more with you, because I'm paranoid about you guys not understanding this part. If you've got 4,000 mils in a bottle of ketchup, that's a 4-liter bottle, like a standard tomato sauce or ketchup bottle. You just got to make sure it's 4,000 mils as opposed to a 4-liter thing. This unit needs to be the same. All right. So next, after you've worked out the bulk package, you want to work out your measured portion. So what's the portion you're going to put on the burger? And all you need to do is put in 1. So for example, I'll backspace this. Bulk package is 48 buns. They're $44 a box they cost me, and there's 1 per box. So this formula is going to tell us there's 48 buns per box, and that's portion per package. And now that it knows there's 48 buns per box, it knows that each burger bun costs me 92 cents, which is really cool. And it's the same thing for all of these items down here. And so it spits it out over here to this chart. My margins and everything in my business are pretty tight. But if there's anything I'm going to cut, there's anything I'm going to look at, I'm going to say, well, my burger buns and my beef patty, wow, I need to do something about that. Imagine if I cut my beef patty in half. Like if I could get the cost of my big patties cut in half, like just to exaggerate the point, I go 4%, I go down to 17% from 21%. That's insane. That's for every $100,000 of these I sell, that's $4,000 in my pocket. So this chart is showing you what it's worth making phone calls about. All right. Now it's pretty similar down the line here for my other burgers, but what I want to show you is, okay, so this loaded fries is, it's really similar, to be honest, but this is something that when I made it, it actually caught my eye. Pizza cheese. Now it's like a blend of a cheese melt that's really good, and it melts over the gravy and everything. And there's 50 grams on there. It comes in a 2 kilo pack. So we get 40 serves per pack, and it's 90 cents. Now I've already got a super low margin here. It's crazy, but look what is costing me 36% of this thing. If you saw how much cheese I'm putting on these fries, it's like a little sprinkle. It really brings to your attention what costs need your attention, because at the end of the day, your food costs, what you're actually selling, is the only thing you can really play with in your business. Your wages, you can't shift much. The event costs or your lease or your whatever you're paying to have site somewhere, you can't be very creative with any of your other costs. So if you can get good visibility on your food costs, that's where your real refining and tweaking can come into place, to the point where like you can seriously take your food costs from like 28% down to 18. And it can be done by just portion control, adjusting the sizes, putting prices up a tiny bit. You might be in a market where you can do that and you just didn't think to do it. There's this, like, the opportunities are obviously endless with this kind of sheet. So it goes down 15 items, this sheet, where you add into your 15th item. This will paste it straight into here. I'll just show you if you don't believe me. Then burger, beef, all right? And then the cost is going to be drawn from there, and the margin is down there. Hope that all makes sense to you guys. And again, this is definitely the hardest part. Once you kind of just click with that for your menu, once you've got this thing ready, you're literally going to milk money out of your business. Like, I'm not joking. Your food cost data, you're probably thinking, well, all right, we just add all these costs together and we just average it out or something. And that's what we do here. But obviously, I'm not selling as many groovy fries, loaded fries with cheese on them, as I am beef burgers. Well, not obviously. I know, obviously. I'm selling way more beef burgers. Beef burgers are by far the biggest seller in our business. Now, you need to weight it accordingly, and you can guess, of course. But at the end of the day, your vegetarian stuff, unless you're at a vegan or vegetarian festival, sorry, vegos, but it just won't sell as well, typically, in a general marketplace. So I think you can see what I've done here. What percent of your trade does the item make up? Like my beef burgers, around 35%. I know this, but if you're estimating, it's totally fine as well. You'll see why in a minute. Chicken burger, 20%, blah, blah, blah. This just has to total 100%. So just say this is 5%, it goes down to 95. So you just want to play with it until it's 100. And what that's going to do is these numbers will talk to this average and say, all right, which one are we selling the most of? We need to weight it more heavily to 21%. And, we're selling more of this. It'll weight it accordingly to give us this food margin that accounts for all these different percentages and the different weighting. Hope that makes sense. I think it was a hard way to explain it, but I think you get the idea. So 70%, that's an insane good margin for a burger business, in my opinion. Wastage, roughly 5%. And some of you might think, well, like 5% off. We add 5% to that's so much. Well, it's not really. So say you did $100,000 worth of sales. The idea is that you're wasting $5,000 worth of food to be sold. And that's not wasting like dropping food on the floor or throwing it in the bin or whatever. That's accounting for everything in transit. Something might go bad, or there's all sorts of things that can happen. And in my experience, this is accounting for more than enough. So basically you go 5%. So $5,000 in sales times this food margin, 17%, because that's what you would have been paying for that $5,000 in food. So 17% of the 5% comes out to 0.85%. We do the same thing with this other. If you can think of anything else, just estimate it, whatever percentage here. And we add that to the 17% to give us our actual food margin. It accounts for the variance in product sales volume and this stuff as well. Really critical to be able to have this golden number and to be able to go in and change it and have that change in real time. All right. Once you've got that number, hope you can see here, I've got this number everywhere. So whenever you make an amendment to your menu, it's going to amend your event profit and loss in real time, and you're going to know what's going on. So enough talk about food costs. We're going to talk about event profit and loss statements. So right here, we've got your income including GST. That's the GST, and that's excluding GST. And you probably see in accounting statements that they always hone in on the excluding GST number. And you should, because this money is not yours. If you're doing over $75,000 a year, which you want to be eventually, definitely, this money, that's not yours. So you want to kind of block it out of your mind rather than having it in your mind or even in the same account, so that you can always be focusing on what your excluding GST value is. So for this menu, it's a family fair, just a makeup event I thought I'd throw in here. So on the 17th of July, 2024, we've done $2,500 in card sales, $600 cash. Total revenues, 3,1, excluding GST, 2,818. Expenses, you can play with this card fee. Food cost is there. No commission, thank God. For a family fair, I would hope not. They've charged us $300 to be there, $50 power, $420 wages, $40 in fuel to get there, $65 in gas. That's all our expenses with this event. Excluding GST, our net profit is $1,391.72. And that's at a 49% margin. We've got a wedding year. You might take payment by bank transfer, online payment, or anything else you receive. It's all going to go in all the same. Last one I want to talk about is, say, a music festival. You can see the turnover here. We've got $16,500. They've charged us 20% commission, which is pretty standard for an event that we're doing this sort of turnover at. You can see all the other fees here. Cool room hire, $400. Profit is about 6.5, 43%. So hope you can see how valuable it is to be able to see your numbers clearly, make decisions based on what you can see. And if you saw an event like the family fair and you go, oh, wow, even if those expenses were shrunk right down, if I was optimistic, I'm only going to make $500 out of that or something. You might go, well, that's a complete waste of time. You might have a music festival on the same weekend and you might go, say we did $8,000. We'd still do 3.3. Yeah, that's probably more worthwhile doing. Your wages are probably going to be a bit cheaper. All this kind of stuff. But it's all about your decision making, in your forecasting, in your cost cutting, in your whole business, really. And your fixed location is going to look very similar. So this is a weekly chart. Your roadside rest stop. And you can see your weekly profit is $2,000 every week. Very consistent business, but it's just the exact same as the previous tab. And you got that all the way through the financial year. You can punch in your values there. It's all synced up to your food costs and everything. And yeah, that's about it. So guys, I really hope that was helpful. I hope you can understand how valuable a tool like that can be for your business. You can see everything. There's nowhere to hide. If there's something that's costing you too much, if there's an event that looks like it's not a good idea, you can see it clearly without having to spend even 10 minutes punching stuff in. It can just take you 30 seconds or something. And that could be the difference between you having better visibility over your whole business or making bad decisions. Thanks so much for watching, guys. Take care, and I'll talk to you soon.